been in the field of, we've had her on before, of internet safety and protection for children for a long time. And she is joining us via the phone right now. Donna, good morning to you.
Good morning.
Tim here with Jim. We'll make it easy on you.
Hey, Tim and Jim.
And congratulations, by the way, on the Emmy for your Internet Safety 101 and the PBS series that you guys did on that.
Thank you. We were really excited and surprised and feel that, God just really gave us favor throughout this project. It was a lot of work and a team effort, but our focus is to get this program in front of more and more parents and adults, and one way to do that is to speak to them where they're, sitting, and that's in their living room, oftentimes, or their family room in front of the television set, or in front of the radio, like today.
Tell us, Enough is Enough, the name of your organization. How did it, just briefly, because I know we want to get into these issues, but just briefly for those who don't know, how did it start, and how did you name it?
Well, it started in 1992 with a group of women that were concerned about the ill effects of pornography, and mostly, illegal pornography, obscenity, and other forms of pornography on children, women, and men. And then in 1994, that's when I came on board, and we got involved in the Internet issue just right before the Internet really started to become commercial, because we saw the beginnings of predators and pornographers exploiting this wonderful technology. And but to the name Enough is Enough, our first president, Dee Jepson, just came up with it, and she just said, enough is enough. We've got to get on top of this. So that's how it started.
So how has this evolved over the years? What have you seen in terms of the dangers of the Internet?
Well, it's the Internet itself has evolved so that, in the beginning it was mostly one-way communications, or else, through email, but you were mostly downloading information and content, and now it's very interactive. So you can post, become your own creator, your own producer, and whatnot, and you can interact with people in real time, and not just on a desktop anymore, but also on any Internet-enabled device. So that's a smartphone, a laptop, a gaming device, all these portable little devices. And the dangers are growing as well. The pornographers still basically exploit the technology in the same way as they did in the beginning, and so do sexual predators. It's just that now kids have more and more access to the Internet through the way it's involved, which means that those who are exploiting the Internet and these technologies have more and more access to kids.
Now, you guys don't have an Internet filter system yourself, do you?
We do not, no, but we do point to all the ones that are out there and available, which is really important for us. We're what we call industry agnostic from that standpoint, because an individual family, for instance, can have multiple points of access on their cell phone or on their desktop. So we recommend that they go to that provider, if it's Verizon on the smartphone, and then AOL on their Internet, service provider, and to use those parental controls first. And then if they need additional protection, they can use the off-the-shelf kinds of products.
Yeah, and we're involved as well with that at AFO.net, American Family Online. And we actually offer mobile web guard and total net guard.
Oh, that's great.
For families that need more, a little more help with that. Because you're right, at a server level, they can do a certain amount. But then if someone's determined they're going to try and get through, then they're going to really, that's where the guard comes in and helps with that.
Well, I think that's terrific. We, in fact, I asked your producer before we started if you still had that, and they said that they didn't think you did. But I completely applaud you, because you're a trusted source, and this is what people need.
Yeah, let me be clear. It's the same similar name. We did start the company. We're no longer in control of the company, but they do great work. So it's a yes and no.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, Steve Inslee is the director, and he's a really good friend of the ministry.
Yeah, AFO.net if you want to find out more about that, folks, AFO.net.
Right.
You're listening to the radio program Today's Issues on the American Family Radio Network. You guys, we're talking to Donna Rice Hughes, and you can find out more about her organization at enough.org.
Mm-hmm.
Enough.org. We're talking about the dark side of the internet, how to protect you and your family. You've got a press release here dated July 31st where you talk about you're commending, I guess, the FBI and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. What happened here?
Well, we've had a number of press releases. I'm not sure which one exactly.
This is the one where they had the sting?
Yeah, Operation Cross Country.
Yes, exactly. It was one of the largest trafficking stings that has happened really in a very, very long time. And they work together, which is a wonderful thing. To have law enforcement actually cooperate with each other, state and local and federal, to actually track how, these predators have been using, technologies to then, recruit kids really into prostitution.
Is that still a problem where, you used to hear about these stories, and you still do occasionally, of an adult predator on the internet posing as a teenager,
mm-hmm.
or and then wanting to meet, set up meetings with these, I guess, unsuspecting kids, and then they, and then that's how they, get hooked up with these minors. And then go ahead. Is that still an issue?
Yes, it's a big issue. Predators are, if the thing to understand about predators, whether they're a sex trafficker, which was in this case, they were actually trafficking kids, recruiting them mostly through the technology, but sometimes, at the schools and the malls and things like that. But predators, whether it's a sexual predator looking for a relationship with a kid or to sexually abuse, to have an online sex relationship with them and then an offline sexual encounters, or a trafficker, they use technology because they prey where kids play. And that, if I can get across anything to your listeners, is that, look, your kids and grandkids are probably using the technology a lot. And the pornography is easily available to them, and predators are also seeking out unsuspecting, vulnerable kids. And they do seduce them online, and they don't just come out and, say, hi, I'm, 35-year-old, sex offender, and, I want to have sex with you. They don't do that. What they do is they find common ground to befriend that child, to gain their trust. And eventually they can begin and will begin introducing sexual content to them and sexual conversation, and get to know them and begin to isolate them. So now, and we call this the grooming process. So one of the things, and I just want to give out our website, InternetSafety101.org, this program that was reformatted for television that we won an Emmy Award for, is a multimedia program that we created specifically to educate, equip, and empower parents and teachers and youth pastors and leaders and after-school workers to understand what the dangers are on the Internet and through all this technology, and how to protect children under their care. And we've divided it into really 4 parts. And the first part is how pornographers are using this technology and how very addicting this is, and the fact that kids have free and easy access to not only adult pornography, but very hardcore explicit pornography that's not even protected speech for adults, and they also have access to child pornography, and how very harmful that it is. And we've got new studies that are showing how it actually can impact the brain, and we've got young kids talking about how this material has harmed them in their life, and then, educating the adults. Okay, you need to recognize that your kids are not immune. Even your good, wonderful, sweet Christian kids can fall into the trap of online pornography. And the second area we deal with is predators, like we were just talking about. and they use the technology to gain access to kids that they would otherwise never have access to. And they also have easy access to child pornography on the Internet. This is a new phenomenon. You ask, what has changed? Well, before the Internet, predators and pedophiles couldn't get their hands on a lot of new child pornography. Now, it's one of the biggest industries on the Internet internationally and growing. So yes, that continues to be a problem. We're also seeing, because kids are getting into pornography themselves, that may actually incite, young people to act out sexually against younger kids. And so, it continues to be an issue. And then in the third part of the program, we deal with protecting kids on social networks and online gaming and even cyberbullying. And one of the biggest issues facing our kids today is cyberbullying and bullying of all sorts. And then the safety section. So all of this is on our website at InternetSafety101.org. We've got a lot of free information there, a lot of tools, a lot of resources, but you can also get the program for yourself or for your community or for your PTA or for your church group as well, which I highly recommend.
You're listening to the program, Today's Issues on American Family Radio. Jim alongside Tim. And our guest is Donna Rice Hughes. She is president of Enough is Enough. And we're talking about their Internet Safety 101 program that they have, and you can find information on that at InternetSafety101.org. At your website, you have, as you mentioned, some great tools, and some of them are free. And one of them is the Rules and Tools Checklist.
Yes.
Tell us a little bit about that.
Well, the safety section that I was referring to, what we're trying to get people to do, parents to do, is first of all recognize their kids are not immune, and that parents and caring adults, whoever is supervising the use of that Internet-enabled device, is the first line of defense. And we built a case throughout this program that the government's not doing it. The technology has free and open access, unlike certain places in Europe. So if you want to manage that access, and block off the pornography and, have monitors on and everything else, and understand how to keep your kids safe on online gaming devices and social networks and whatnot, then you need to implement what we call rules and tools. And the rules are the safety rules, which are the non-technical, common sense kinds of measures.
Right.
And the tools are the technical measures, like what you offer at ASO.net. And you need them both, all right, because one is more of an offensive strategy and the other is more of a defensive strategy. And that's how you're going to be able to protect your kids on each and every Internet-enabled device. And you can't apply the rules and tools to just the desktop or the laptop and leave the smartphone open or the gaming device open. You need to implement those guidelines on each Internet-enabled device. And cyber parenting is not easy, but we try to make it simple by putting these guidelines together and reminding you of why you need to do this. Because if you don't, your kids will be vulnerable to the threats that are ever present on this wonderful technology. Not because the technology isn't wonderful, it is.
Right.
But in the wrong hands, it can be very dangerous.
And